quick tutorial just to summarize these 12 different tutorials. I covered the whole workflow from 2Motion in Unreal version 5. And also, based on these 12 tutorials, there's several student project has been done in 2002 fall semester, where you can see the projects varied from Target, Kroger to many different architectural uh, presentations on the new metaverse. Based on the student project, I do find out some common issues and problems. Most of them is happening during the workflow from 3D modeling program into Unreal version 5. Unreal 5. So here I made a really quick summary of those problems in a PowerPoint, and I will go through them really quick. So that's the topic for this tutorial, is the common issues and solutions in Unreal 5. So the first issue I found out is the low frame rate. As you know, the more geometries and more complicated lightings, it will take more computing time to render the frames. For instance, in this project, the frame rate is extremely low, and I found out there's 21 lights. They are casting shadow with ray tracing, and the lights is kind of close to this bamboo tree. So you can imagine that's huge amount of calculation in terms of the shadow for every single leaf, right? So the solution to reduce amount of computing is turn off the cast shadow options for all 21 lights. So you can select all of them, then you can turn off at once. So as soon as I turn off those shadows, also turn off the ray tracing, the performance is much better. Okay, so it's ray tracing, not ray tracking. I misspelled that. Okay, and also you want to make sure the lights should be static lights instead of movable lights. So the static lights will be baked later. So it's going to be a better solution for optimize the real-time rendering. So static lights are better. Another issue I found out is the scale of the first-person character. Because when the project transfer into Unreal, for some reason the unit probably is wrong. It's maybe inch instead of centimeter, or could be millimeters. So the whole scale is wrong. So to make it correct, you can scale down the entire environment, or if you don't have time, you can just easily raise the size, the height of the character, so you can make the camera much higher than it should be. So this is just like a quick, dirty way to solve the problem, just changing the height of the character. I think the unit here is by default centimeter. Right? So this is a giant, really, really tall person. Another problem I find out is UV mapping. If you forget to apply UV mapping in 3D modeling program, when you transfer to Unreal, it automatically creates a UV map for you. This is for the baking light purpose. However, this UV light might not be ideal to apply the textures, or like a video textures, for example. So the best way you can create your own UV light instead of do this in Unreal, you should just go back to your 3D modeling program, and then you can apply the UV mapping directly there. Either it's in Maya, Max, Blender, Rhino. You can choose. So this is a screenshot in Rhino. You can create a cylindrical projection mapping. Then you export this model as FBX. Then the FBX will carry all the UV mapping information back to Unreal. Okay, so go back to 3D modeling program, create a UV, and then transfer back the FBX. The next problem I found out is some video only played once in Unreal. The reason is you forgot to check the loop. So make sure in the media player interface you want to check the looping, so the video will be repeat over time. And also for the video texture, just make sure you have the video file in the movies folder. The spell has to be MOVIES. Just make sure it's accurate, nothing else. Okay. Otherwise, the video might show up in Unreal Editor, but when you package, it disappeared because it's using a wrong folder path. Okay. Movies, that's the name. Another quick note is some students actually just want to do animated texture, right? The texture will sliding or moving from one side to another. This is a cheaper way than doing a video file as texture. So if you want to do this kind of animated texture using a pen or changing scale, you can do this in a material editor. So one of the node is called Panner, Panner. You can pan the texture by link this node into the UVs. And also if you want to rotate the orientation of the texture, you can do custom rotator. This will do the job. Just make sure the pivot point is 0.5, 0.5. The rotation angle, you can use a value between 0 and 1. I think 0 is 0 degree, 1 is probably 360 degree. Right? I maybe do another tutorial separate just to show you how to pan animate the texture. All right. And also, by the way, the add A and B together, this will actually allow you to have a rotation node first, then it's doing the pan. And you can control the speed as well. The next issue I found out is after bake the lighting, some video material, the surface will become black, dark. The reason is when you bake a light, Unreal is trying to calculate the shadow and pre-bake the shadow into the texture, which might conflict with the video material. If you do a holographic video, the video actually do not have any shadows, right? Does not need to be baked. So in this case, you can pick up the static mesh, right, which hosts the video. Then in the properties, if you type light map, you can find a light map type. Then you change it to volumetric. So this will exclude this object from baking. So the baking light will ignore this surface, which will prevent any dark black color show up in a video object. The next one is sometimes when you bring a material in and it's only show up on one side. If you go to the back side, the object is invisible, right? Because by default, all the material is single-sided. But for some reason, if the display is reversed, the back side is visible, the front side is not visible. In this case, you can just simply check two-sided option in the material. So it will force Unreal to render both sides, front and the back. It will double the rendering time, but you will get rid of that problem. So each side, positive and negative, is all visible. I think that concludes all the issues I found out in the previous project. I hope these tricks will help you to make a better, more efficient workflow.